Welcome to the Scale and Exit Show. I am your host, Judge Graham, and I've got a special guest. You guys know I bring amazing guests every week. I've got my man, Cory Procter. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Come on, Judge Graham. That's what I'm talking about. Telegram. I got a 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old baby girl, so I'm full of stupid dad jokes.
I love it, man. So, but hey, before we get in, I'm going to do an intro on you, okay? So Cory is a former NFL Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman. He's an entrepreneur. He's a hell of a speaker. He's a husband, a father, and a strong Christian. He is a warrior for himself, for his family, and for God. I love that, man. That's awesome. So many people, won't put that out there. So I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we need more of that. I mean, honestly, it's kind of without going to full story right away, my faith is really what ignited a fire, and that was post-football.
Yeah.
And so I get excited because, we live in a crazy place where guys are passive and the world wants to keep them passive in a sense. And I don't want any of that. I want you to be lit up just like every other guy for his marriage, for his family, for his job even, right? But in the right way and get fired up. And do bring some purpose to all those parts of his life.
Yeah, I love that, man. Be lit up. So tell us just, give us the Reader's Digest version. I mean, super success. Looks like you've had failures, success, some tragedy. Give us just a quick background, man, of your story.
Sure. Quick background. I mean, I grew up Washington State. Half of the nation knows what I'm talking about with 50% divorce rate. So I went through that with my folks.
Yeah.
Tough. Not bashing on them. I still have great relationships with them, but it was a hard time for me. So I gravitated towards sports, and coaches were a huge guiding force for me. So that was a big deal. So I got a lot of my testosterone from the weight room and from the locker room. But grew up Washington State, went to school, University of Montana, loved it there, and then got undrafted to the Detroit Lions, and then ultimately picked up by the Dallas Cowboys, where I spent the majority of my career. Went to Miami Dolphins in 2010 and ruptured my patella tendon in a game with the Chicago Bears, which was the end of my playing career. And so I go through this whole identity issue, struggle. I'm fighting with this, fighting with this thought process that I got more left in the tank. A lot of guys go through that, and it's a blow to the ego,
I bet.
Which is tough. But, it was good because I was engaged to my wife at the time. So it was more God telling me like, hey, I'm trying to create you to be a husband, not a football player anymore. Okay.
Right.
So went through that, and I had to get involved into regular life. So I got a sales job with a beverage company out of Atlanta, did really well with that, but still kind of struggle with this limitation place. And we come ultimately to a rough time in our life where I'm middle of 3 boys originally. Folks split. We have a lot of step siblings, but originally middle of 3 boys, and my brothers are my best friends. And my younger brother Casey and his wife went through a tragedy and losing their son to cancer. And it was just obviously a real kind of FU moment in our minds, and having to walk through that, and especially when our baby girl was born, really conflicting times. And, you get this beautiful gift, but another one gets taken away. And so we kind of go through this real hate-filled place with God, and some splits in our relationships, splits in our families, not very good. And ultimately we get an invite, my wife and I get an invite to church here in Keller, Texas, to Milestone Church, non-denominational. And I originally grew up Mormon, which is
big change.
Big change. But that's the cool thing about it is God's bigger than anything that's going on in our life.
Amen.
And, we show up there, full Goliath armor on, ready to fight anybody who wants to come at me. And, we go about second worship song in as he lays a vision of my nephew on me. And it was just a powerful moment that I keep quiet for a long time, but a powerful moment that allows me to get in the faith, get around the word, and really develop that faith. And ultimately gave my life to Christ, got baptized, and lit a fire under me. They do a really great job of developing leaders and giving them resources and practical things to bring home to your life, to your work, to your family. And it's been really amazing, because since then it was like God was putting so many characteristics in me as a football player to have, like the hard worker, know what work ethic is, know how to put in the grind every day and know how to do that. Gave me a ton of good qualities. But it's like, now that I had a relationship with him, an active one, now he's like, all right, I'm going to turn you into a leader. And that was the coolest thing, was from then it was speaking engagements started dropping out of my lap. Stewarding my life was a whole lot bigger. So where speaking was a thing, and I'm like, what do you just get up in front of people and talk? Like, what is that? So, but legit enough, people want to hear my testimony. They want to hear my story. They want to hear what the heck, how this guy one make it to the NFL, and then how are you coming to faith? What's wrong with you? And in that, scripture talks about, we live by the blood of Jesus and our testimony. That's why our stories are so strong. And so I share stories, share points, and now churches bring me in, conferences bring me in, corporations bring me in to talk about team building, leadership, what it takes to win, what kind of characteristic attributes are needed for those environments, because I've been able to succeed past football, not just in the sales world, but now in the speaking world, and now going into an entrepreneurial role, open up my own investment company. And it's been an amazing, explosive time in my life, because God's just opened my eyes.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I watch a bunch of your videos. I mean, what I love is you're so authentic and real, right? Every video, you're passionate, you're real, and I think we need more of that, right? And I think and I talk a lot about football, and just because for me, well, one, hey, go Cowboys last night, right?
That's right, baby. Beat them Eagles.
But in general, I think we're in an age with social media and everything's moving so fast. Everybody just expects things, right? We're in this, everybody gets a trophy. Everything is given. Everything is instantaneous, right? And I think what the lessons I learned from playing football, and again, I never got to the NFL at your level, but through the, just through the collegiate level or even high school, you're learning what it takes to win and what it feels like to lose, and to be a part of the team and be a part of something bigger. And I mean, aren't those life lessons that help shape who you become?
It's huge. I'll talk with athletes a lot. Obviously, I go to college teams and a lot locally here too. But I speak with teams. I'm like, I talk to the athletes. I go, look, you guys are built for success. So you think of any sort of profession, any sort of training,
right,
you can think of in the corporate world, doesn't necessarily relate as much to athletics. So on a football field, an athletic environment, you have a coach, you have opportunities. Okay, so we go out in a play and I screw up on a play and I get yelled at by a coach. I don't just get beat where now I have to face this failure and I'm going to have to process these emotions, but I got a guy yelling at me behind.
Yeah.
So now it's double up on top of me, where, all right, now everybody wants to be weak about it. And it's, this is not good. And there's different dynamics at play, but you have to process all these emotions in this short amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I have to do this in 30 seconds or less to process that and get on to the next thing, where in the regular world, I have 2 weeks. And so what happens is, okay, you and I get into a spat, or you text me something that I question or I don't like. And I'm like, what does he mean by that?
Right.
Now I can avoid you for the next 2 weeks if I haven't had an environment that forces that connection. Right. Where on the football field, if I don't like something you've said, we're in front of each other's face for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're forced to cope with it and go through it. And so now we get outside of sports and you get into a sales job, which was classic. Now I have to cope with being told no.
Yeah.
Right? I have to cope with somebody not liking me potentially and moving on to the next thing. And this happens every day in the world, right? Or I have to, in my home where my wife doesn't like something I said, I have to cope with that, deal with it, and be able to come back to her and love on her the same way even though I just got killed.
Yeah, your ass reamed. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think that in some extent, even our schools are doing a disjustice, right? I mean, how great would it be if there was more classes on how to speak, how to deal with rejection, how to focus on how to be really committed to something, right? How to understand, creating a work ethic and what it takes when you get in the real world, right? I mean, being at the pro level, I mean, everybody, all they see from you is, wow, you played for the Dallas Cowboys. Look at him, right? They don't understand the pain, the sacrifice, the surgeries you dealt with, the staying late working in the weight room, the watching film. I mean, all that nobody cares about, right? They just look at that. But it's what builds you, and the effort and the pain and the struggles and the commitment is what got you to where you were. Right. And people need to learn those behaviors to be more successful in society.
Totally. And I laugh about this all the time. So it's winter time. So everybody's getting sick. So everybody can relate to this right now. Is in sports, there are no sick days.
Yeah.
You play with the flu. Brett Favre played 2 or 3 days after his dad died.
Yeah.
You play through every possible event you can, just because, okay, there's extreme circumstances that will give you an excuse, but through every possible thing, you're playing, you're getting your work done. You're there showing up for your team. You're accountable to all those bodies and those guys. And in the corporate environment today, right, you have a little sniffle and you're not doing anything.
Soft.
You're soft. And what people don't realize is, one bad decision, what you do little, you do big.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I sleep in today, and I'm not saying you don't get rest, because it's absolutely important. We need
right.
it. I sleep in a little bit today, and it creeps further into tomorrow. It creeps further into tomorrow, and I get less and less productive. It's funny. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning getting things done, and that's just become a habit because I was a 6 a.m. Weight room guy every day playing football.
Mm-hmm.
And those were attributes ingrained into me where I know if I got to get to work, all right, I got to get up early, I got to get moving now, and I got to focus.
Right. Yeah. People complain so much about time, right? And time to me is the most precious thing. Listen, if you can show me where I can buy more time, I'm interested. You can't get any more, right? And if you're like me, time now, especially when you have kids, I mean, it's moving so fast, right? Like I just turned 40. And it feels like, yesterday I was 24, right? It moves so fast. And I get so sick and tired of people saying, well, I don't have enough time. There's 24 hours in a day. Even if you get the proper rest, it's where you focus, and are you really committed to doing what you need to be successful? Whether that's relationships, God, work, health. There's time to do all of that in a day. It's just, are you committed to putting in the work? Do you agree with that?
Right. Absolutely. Well, and a big thing involving that is where you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another.
Yeah.
Right. And vice versa. So if I'm saying yes to work, that means I'm saying no to my family currently right now. And if you think about that and really let that sink in, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if I'm working and I'm a workaholic all day long and I'm gone, I'm never there for kids' events. I'm never there to wake up with baby girl or put her to bed. That says a lot about me. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean I'm grinding. I'm working all day. That's great. But it also tells me I'm saying no to my family a whole lot, which is not good.
Yeah.
So, when you start thinking like that, okay, your mind starts shifting, your perception starts shifting. So how can I better manage my time? How can I better utilize these minutes, days of my life? Right. So, okay. Like this, all right, late night hours and early mornings are great times when nobody's up.
Right.
To get a whole lot of work done.
Sure.
So that's why I'm up at 5 a.m. because when baby girl gets up at 6:30, I've already got an hour and a half work of whatever I want to be done. And I can wake up with her. I can help make her breakfast, although my wife might beg to differ because she does the bulk of that work. But I can now contribute to my life and get her on to school and help out and go work out and do that thing and then come back and get right back to work.
Right.
And I can keep that focus on. And a lot of people, they get shady with that. They're like, I don't have time in the day. Well, all right, let's look at your day. What time did you wake up? Well, I got up at 8. I got up at 9. All right. Well, when did you roll into work? 9 or 10, which is a lot of people.
Right.
And I got a regular 9 to 5. So I got off at 5 and I come home and I like to work out. So I go to the gym. That's fine. And then I like to go out to eat. So I go spend some money and I spend extra time at a restaurant. Well, I'm not getting anything done there.
Yeah.
When I could make a sandwich or something at home, if I'm really trying to execute a side gig that I want to get done or a side passion that I want to do, there are hours in the world totally. To do it.
Yeah, you can have it all. You just gotta prioritize and manage the time.
Right.
And
I would say that, especially for any single young people out there.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have everything on your side. I had a conversation with a guy the other day. He's struggling in his business, not sure how to get going. He's tending bar in the nights, and he's just trying to get this. He likes financial world where I'm getting amped up in, and he was asking for some advice. I'm like, look, man, you're single, you're young, you have a ton of side time on your side. You don't have kids or a wife. You should be networking your absolute tail off.
Yeah,
right
for
now,
sure.
and going to every single event and making relationships and not cold calling, selling people all the time. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be making relationships with people and ingraining yourself in your local area.
Yeah, and that's key. You said, building relationships, not trying to sell. I mean, the older I get, the more important relationships and networking is, right? I mean, we've connected now, and that's been great about social, right? I'm sure if we continue to have conversations, it'll benefit both of us in a multitude of ways. I mean, professionally, personally, whatever, the more you build real relationships, it's great. But with that same caveat, I've also learned, build your tribe, right? I talk a lot about, man, older I get, there's only so much time, and I'm only going to surround myself with people that are like-minded and that are positive and that are uplifting. And if you don't fit in those 3 buckets, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And it doesn't mean that I don't want people to mistake that, right? Because some people are like, you just got to love all day long and be positive. And that's great. And it is. That's not to mistake for a lack of accountability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
I don't want people to go down that road, because negative people, naysayers, will go down that road and they're like negative all day long and say, well, you're not doing the right things. Well, no, not necessarily. I'm gonna keep you accountable,
right?
But I'm gonna stay in a positive light about it.
Yeah,
and that's what I love is like, okay, we can spew positivity all day long. Okay, now let's apply the actions. Where are we getting this? Though, like, that motivation is key, because if we can stimulate an emotional response, now we get a little bit of a dopamine rush and we can get a high.
Right.
Now we're in a prime place to make action happen. So if we can attack that and hold each other accountable to that, okay, let's go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, positivity is just a mindset. It's nothing without action and accountability. You know, I would much rather I think in order to have massive action and accountability, inherently you're probably positive. But yeah, if you're just sitting around and being positive and thinking, like positively, nothing's going to happen, right? Massive action and accountability, and in whatever, right? Relationships, religion, work, whatever it is, you need massive action and accountability.
It's huge. And it's funny because I don't know if you guys ever taken the Strength Finders test.
I have it. I should take it.
It's a good one. If anybody's listening and you're unsure where you're supposed to go, you got a little bit of question in your head, go take the Strength Finders test. It's a really great a lot of corporations, churches use this.
Yeah.
But what it's meant to do, really probably more suitable for anybody who's past adolescence, is it is supposed to get some natural gift sets that are already within you, characteristics. So mine were activator, maximizer, includer, and communication. And there was a top 5 you get. I forget the 5th one, but my number 1 was activator, which is much rather play than watch.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
So
shocked.
So what happens is when you say, all right, hey, let's get together next week for coffee. I want to show you my business, or we'll just do something together, whatever the case may be. All right, set it in the calendar. And it's not like this, all right, yeah, let's get together and we're gone. I have to do it now.
Yeah.
I have to do it now. And so, like, same thing with my wife. I think about a gift. idea for Christmas is coming up. I have to take a note. I have to write it down. Mel Robbins calls it the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
He said, if you do not act on it immediately, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, totally. Well, even like when we booked this podcast, right? It was a couple Facebook messages. What's the date? When's the day? Booked, right? That's good though, man, because and I always talk about it a lot of time. If you don't put a date on something, it's not real.
Right.
Right.
Totally.
I mean, you got to have a date because you got to work towards something or it never happens. Right. So
even on that is I'll get people that send me messages and I won't respond right away because I'm not available. Right. So, or I'm prioritizing my time, really what it is. And
yep.
We're texting and messaging constantly. All of us are,
yep.
But I'll leave that little blue dot by my texts or message alerts in my LinkedIn or my Facebook on purpose.
Right. Yeah.
Because it bothers me.
Yep. Me too. OCD.
So I know that message is waiting for me and I got to come back and get to it.
Yeah.
And so finally, all right, when I get some minutes alone and I've spent my time with my family, done some priorities, I'll go back through those. Okay. Now I'll get back to you. Now I'll get back. Boom, boom, boom. We lock it in.
I love it. So talk to me a little bit as we come kind of to a close about speaking. I know you said church, corporations. What is there a preference? Like how which one do you prefer? Is it same kind of similar messaging or not?
It is similar messaging, depending on what I'm doing. And I always have conversations with the leaders, whoever is, might be the lead pastor of the church or the director of sales, the president, CEO, about what kind of messaging they want necessarily. And that's in relation to pain points that's going on in their business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it could be a lack of buy-in from the team. It could be a fighting issue. I just spoke with an Italian paper company that was in Dallas here for a conference or for a trade show. They're trying to make a big splash. Sofidel is the name of their company. They're trying to make a splash in the American market. And it was funny because I go in, they wanted inspirational leadership. And at first they just brought me in because they're bringing a bunch of leads into a little get together with drinks and hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And they had a couple of their salespeople in there, but I got done. A lot of times I'll use my own personal testimony, but I'll illustrate, because I've been in that environment, I'll illustrate the common issues that people have with each other, the fighting over the commissions, the fighting over a sale, how they let the little problems drive division into our relationship where now we hate each other all of a sudden and we're not working for each other. And also I use a lot of that. And what was cool is afterwards, the director of sales comes up to me and said, "Man, I'm disappointed," which freaked me out for a second.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm disappointed because my whole sales team needed to hear that.
That's good, man.
And he goes, so what's cool about that? So now we're working on scheduled time for me to fly to Philly, their American office, and potentially their national convention in Italy.
Wow. I want to come.
Yeah. But it kind of, it would have, the point of that story is, I love church. I love corporate. Yeah. It's both. But what I love is firing people up to be a little more passionate about what they want to do, what they want to do in life, caring about the people around their scope of influence, and coming at it with a purpose. And the cool thing about that is I'm not the conduit. I'm big on my faith. I'm not the conduit from before. I'm the tool to be used. Yeah. In that, God lit me up. So the faith purpose for me is if you're lit up by me and you all of a sudden are attracted to my life or what I'm spewing out of my mouth. And, you come in and you say, "Hey, what's going on, man? What are you drinking? What juice are you drinking right now, brother?" And I'm like, it's God, man. It's not me. And so go ahead. But it's just, it allows a moment of connection where I can point them to, to me, to our Savior, and say, "Look, this guy, this higher being has an insane view for your life and vision for your life that you haven't even tapped into yet." Yeah. That's awesome, man. For them to even take a step closer to God in that relationship will just blow their mind even more. That's awesome. That's ultimately, that's my favorite, as I love that. It's awesome. You keep saying lit up, and I love it. And as you're saying this, I really think you should start your own podcast
called the Lit Up Show, right? And just bring it, man. I mean, I'm challenging you to go do that, and I would like to be a guest on it.
All right, Lit Up.
The Lit Up Show, man, right? And it should be all about, business and faith and purpose. It could be really cool, man. I could see that being really awesome for you and fulfilling for you too, right?
I like that. Faith and purpose. I got to write it down. See, that's
make it real. Put a date on it now. Okay, Cory, we're as people listening in the crowd, and if they just want to message you, or if it's somebody that's interested in booking, to speak, or if they're interested in the new podcast, the Lit Up Show, what's the best place to reach you?
Best place to reach me, go to CoryProcter.com.
Okay.
You can put inquiries in there if you want to look at me coming to speak at your event, your business, your church, whatever the case may be. You can follow me on Instagram at Cory Procter and Twitter at Cory Procter, on Facebook at Cory Procter Official. Somebody else had the other one.
Yeah.
Follow me. I love to interact with everybody. Love it when people, they slide into the DMs, except for the chicks that just want to try to hit on me. And I'm like, delete that. But hit me up, and I'm like, if you're struggling, come listen to me. Start putting positive material into your life and voices into your life that are going to lift you up. And so ultimately, they're going to point you back to big man upstairs, who's going to guide your life way bigger than I could ever do.
I love it, man. I love your energy. So I'm going to wrap up. So you guys are watching the Scale with Exit show. I am your host, Judge Graham. I have my buddy Cory on. This will be on iTunes. It'll be on all my social feeds. If you're not following me, follow me at Judge Graham. Hit judgegraham.com. Get my new book, Scale with Speed. If you haven't got it, it's a game changer. And as always, make it happen.